Hi, I'd like to welcome you to our Remax of Boulder podcast today. I'm Mary Huffman, and I am here today with the pleasure of interviewing a dear friend and chef extraordinaire, Cheryl Bauer.
Thank you, Mary, for having me.
It's absolutely my pleasure. So Cheryl is not only a dear friend and chef, but an author who is putting her final touches on her Cooking for Your Canine, Healthy Recipes for Happy Dogs. And so Cheryl, I have to ask you, why a cookbook for dogs?
Well, I was cooking for my dog Shelby and her best friend Sky, and they were both getting older and Sky was ill. And so I was really putting a lot of thought and research into ingredients that I would put in their food. And so I just had got the idea that I'm not the only one that wants to cook for their dog, and a lot of people don't know where to start. They don't even know how to start cooking for their dog. So my cookbook has a lot of recipes, but it also has a whole nutritional information section that tells you what is the ingredient, what's in it, why is it good for your dog, why would you want to include this in your dog's food. So I think that's really helpful. So then people, once they follow some of my recipes, my goal is to have them actually start thinking about making their own recipes and looking at what they have and how they can incorporate that into their dog's foods.
I think that's a great idea. Someone like me who have not had a lot of dogs in my life, I tend to feed my dog what comes out of a can or what comes out of the bag. And I try to buy good quality food, but you know you're not really getting there, right?
Right.
So I get that. But so now I hate to be lazy or sound lazy, but I barely cook for my family. How on earth do I end up cooking for my dog?
I hear that a lot. And the thing is, if you really don't like to cook, there are still things you can add to your dog's food that really will boost the nutritional content of their meal. A couple things you could do is, well, chia seeds, fabulous for humans and dogs. If you take a quarter cup and mix it with a cup of water and then shake it up and put it in your refrigerator, it becomes gelatinous. Adding a teaspoon or a tablespoon of that to your dog's food every day, fabulous for their joints, their skin, their brain, their immune system. And
Sounds like it would be good for me too.
It would be. Add it to your smoothies.
Yeah.
And then pumpkin is great for your dog's digestion. I think everybody should always have pumpkin on hand, pure pumpkin, not anything with sugar. It's super great for their digestion if they get diarrhea or they're throwing up. That's just a great thing to add also to your dog's food. And I've never had a dog that didn't like pumpkin. And then sardines, brilliant. Sardines are, find me a dog that doesn't like sardines. I'll tell you, every dog goes crazy over sardines, and those are like a superfood for dogs. Great for their energy, great for their immune system. Same thing with the fatty 3 omegas.
Okay. That sounds good if you like sardines. I actually leave them off my pizza, but I could see where the dogs would like them a lot. So you do cooking classes.
I do.
You do.
Yes,
and,
I love it.
I sent my husband to one of your cooking classes, and he came home with a bag of dog treats that he had made at the class. And I have to tell you, when our dog Sergio, he's a big German Shepherd, we had the dog treats sitting on the counter, and he would come down every morning and he would just stare at that bag. So tell me, what was in those dog treats that just made him go so crazy over them?
Well, it's so great that he loved them so much because they were also really great for his health. One were the Healthy Belly cookies, which all the ingredients were geared towards digestion. So there were chia seeds, garbanzo beans, spinach, pumpkin, and there was a protein of your choice. You could use grass-fed hamburger, salmon, whatever, to add to those cookies. And then the other had sardines, applesauce, chia seeds. So they were all loaded with whole foods, all really good. I always use whole wheat flour or gluten-free flour. I never use white flour. And so while it's great for him, and he loves it, that's just a win-win, isn't it?
It is. And I have to say, now you've got me going, feeding my dog good food. And I make a smoothie every morning. So it's kale and spinach and just whatever's in the fridge, like maybe frozen blueberries, mangoes. And as I now make my smoothie, the dog sits right next to me and I feed the dog, the raw vegetables or the frozen fruit, whatever. And he just loves it. And so much that when I grind up the smoothie, I'll pour it on his food like a gravy, and he just loves it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, but I would never have guessed a dog would like kale. I can't get my husband to even drink my smoothies, but the dog loves it. So
Well, he
that's
loves it
good.
with all that other great stuff too though, right? So maybe it's just that conglomeration of flavors and it's all good for him, right?
Right. But I do worry because is there anything I should not be putting in the smoothie or feeding my dog? Is there anything that's bad for your dog that we find in our kitchen or in our
Yes, there are.
refrigerator?
And some of them are surprising. Some of them everybody I think knows, a lot of, everybody hears this over and over. But some are, you're a little more surprised when you hear them. So I'm gonna read you the list.
Okay.
Avocado, which I think is
wouldn't have guessed
surprising.
that. Yeah.
Chocolate, I think everyone knows that. Garlic, grapes, macadamia nuts, other kinds of nuts are fine, like almonds, cashews, that sort of thing. Moldy foods, onions, raisins, raw bread dough, tomatoes, and xylitol, which is it's an ingredient found in sugar-free gum and in toothpaste. So don't leave your gum lying around and don't leave your toothpaste lying around because they could get into that.
Well, that's interesting because now I always wondered why the toothpaste in the dog stores was so expensive. And I always thought, well, maybe we just use our toothpaste, but there's why we wouldn't
Oh,
do
that would be a
that.
bad idea, wouldn't it?
Well, that's why
Wow.
we won't do that,
Good
will we?
thinking, no.
So as a wrap up, I'd like to ask everyone to stay tuned because we're going to head over to the kitchen and Cheryl is going to do a cooking demonstration. And honestly, it's amazing how easy these recipes are.